All right. We are now hearing Senate Minority Leader and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, along with Chuck Schumer in the Senate, indicating that a tax plan that would force the GOP to put its money where its mouth is when it comes to tax reform, that they're cooking up something as well. And they're also talking about what happened yesterday in obviously Virginia and obviously New Jersey, big Democratic wins there, that there is a possibility they could retake certainly the House next year in the midterm election. The Senate might prove a little bit more problematic. For the 33 seats, I think 24 are held by Democrats. So it would be a tough road, not an impossible one. But again, let's get the read from former Republican House Majority Leader, also Virginian, Eric Cantor. Congressman, very good to have you.
Neil, it's a pleasure.
We're also hearing that despite these reports that Republicans are optimistic on the Senate, they're going to get the Senate plan out this week, and they'll compare and thrash and all of that, but have it all done by Christmas. Is that optimistic?
Well, look, I think what happened last night really did set off somewhat of an alarm among congressional Republicans. They need to deliver on the tax bill, come whatever may. That is really an imperative now. And so I think that you're going to see some expedited movement in the House, and they'll move with dispatch and move the bill through. And, you know, listen, if there's some loose ends to be tied up over the holidays and into January, you know, I could maybe foresee that. But I do think we need to see some real traction very quickly prior to the Thanksgiving holiday.
But, you know, the House is a very different beast, as you reminded me, than the Senate. And so if they start removing in the Senate these provisions that provide child tax credits that the likes of Marco Rubio wanted and, you know, Lee of Utah, then there are going to be no votes, right? So where is this going?
So at the end of the day, what unites Republicans and is really part of our DNA is cutting taxes, letting people keep more of their hard-earned money. And I believe what will come from all this, bare minimum, are some tax cuts. I'm hopeful that the opportunity is not missed to actually implement, you know, the reforms that are spelled out in the House bill. But as you suggest, a very complicated matrix when you get into the Senate. And, you know, what the tax bill really is about is economic growth. I mean, that's, you know, you hear a lot of pushback lately from those who are wealthy saying, hey, wait a minute, we're going to see taxes go up. But if you look at it, it's about corporate tax rate reduction and it's about small business tax rate reduction, because the intent is for there to be an incentive for capital to go to work, create growth in our economy.
But that's still tough to bring out of the hustings and tell people. Right?
You know, there's no question. I mean, there's a middle-class tax cut, but I believe in the economic modeling that's done around this, that middle-class tax cut in actual absolute numbers pales in comparison to the projected increase in wages that are going to come through economic growth.
But, you know, Eric, I looked at the elections yesterday, and particularly in your state, Virginia, which has been... It was a reliably red state, then it went purple. Now I think it's safely blue. The last three presidential elections have gone to the Democrats. Last two gubernatorial elections safely to the Democrats. Your, you know, defeat some years back, an internal party struggle might have tipped where we were going here. What is going on with Virginia? Is it now a firm blue state in your eye?
Well, I mean, as you suggest, you know, there are structural issues for the party beyond just a loss or trying to take any lessons from Virginia to apply to next year's congressional.
So some Republicans, would they worry that all of a sudden what happened there might be a sign voters don't want to dismantle all the government? They kind of like government, or like it more than Republicans let on?
I really think, because it wasn't only the gubernatorial election and the statewide three elected officials that were on the line, it was all down ballot. I mean, it may be the case that Republicans lose the House of Delegates in Virginia because of last night.
That's a big deal, but not only in your state, though, in New Jersey, even in Maine with this referendum on expanding Medicaid, there's something going on here. And it might not telegraph next year, you're quite right. But are you worried about that, and that Republicans don't appreciate that?
Listen, I'm certainly worried about it, and I think that where one has to look at the numbers and what happened in Virginia for a Democrat to get 51% of the college-educated white vote, for a Democrat to win the women vote by 22%.
Is that right?
Yes,
wow.
And our party needs to be able to project a positive message about the future. And say one thing about President Trump, he ran on Make America Great Again. That is optimistic.
Then what happened to Gillespie?
Well, again, I think that the message didn't come across in the end about optimism. As you know, a lot of coverage on the race, it became, on both sides, very, very divisive.
But he morphed into this guy, you know, don't take down the Confederate statues. It might have had some validity, but it didn't seem like him.
It wasn't what actually ended up moving voters, and we need a message, I believe, that spoke to all Virginians. And again, going forward, the party is going to have to sort of reassess. There are a lot of things I believe the party hasn't done. And as you rightfully say, over the last 8 years, the party has failed to win a statewide election. And with a state that's dynamic, it's growing, it's changing, you know, the challenge is for a political party to keep pace. And if we're a conservative party, to make sure that we demonstrate how those principles can help people as they continue to look for a better future for their families.
Do you think Donald Trump should bear any responsibility for what happened yesterday?
Well, I mean, look, Virginia didn't go for Donald Trump last year.
You're right.
I mean, it was the only southern state that went for Hillary Clinton, and it wasn't even close. She won the state by over 5%.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that...
so people who are trying to make this an anti-Trump thing might be jumping too early.
I think it's a message to the Republican Party of Virginia that there are bigger issues here.
All right. Eric Cantor, the former House Majority Leader. You ever miss it?
Listen, I still care greatly about our country. You know, I'm at Moelis & Company now, so in the world of the markets and the private sector, and it is game on in the United States. And right. I do a lot of travel and very much appreciate what we have in this country.
Eric Cantor, thank you very, very much.